Can a defensive player win the Heisman Trophy? Yep. Will he win a Heisman Trophy this season? Yep. Let's examine Chase Young's actual chances to win the Heisman Trophy here in 2019.
Maybe the best player in America.
Pro Football Focus gives game grades to all the positions on the field for all these major college football teams. Chase Young has 3 of the top 8 game grades ever given edge rushers at PFF, Pro Football Focus. So he's a dominant player. I think he's much more like Charles Woodson than he is Ndamukong Suh or Manti Te'o. There's an argument out there that defensive players can't win this award. And this is a quarterback award and a running back award in some years, and we're just not going to give it to a defensive player. But we have, and his name was Charles Woodson. Let's first talk about the player. Okay, why are these players all different? Well, Woodson and Chase Young are the best player on arguably the best team. Here's where another distinction pops up. He's not just a great college player, he's also a great NFL prospect. Like Suh, like Woodson, Chase Young is widely considered going to be a top 2-3 pick in the draft, if not the top pick in the draft. So he's not just a great college player, he's a great future potential, and he's also playing for arguably the best team in the country. Let's talk about the team. Why is the team significant? Well, I think it's actually more significant than anything because Michigan's run to the national championship that year put Woodson on that stage for everybody to watch his games and for everyone to see and recognize and appreciate his dominance. And that's the same thing that's going to go on with Chase Young. Let's compare Ohio State to that Michigan team and then compare them to Nebraska and Notre Dame for the 2 years for Ndamukong Suh and Manti Te'o. Michigan was a national champion that year. They split with Nebraska, but they were a national champion. They were on the stage all year long. Nebraska was 10-4 and really only got to the stage for the Big 12 championship game when they played an undefeated Texas team who would ultimately go on to lose the national championship game to Alabama. But this is why it's so different with that Notre Dame team is that was almost like a brush fire. It just kind of popped up out of nowhere. In the 3 seasons out of the 5 previous, were not even ranked at any point in that season. And in the other 2 years, in the 5 previous to the Te'o year, the highest they were ever ranked was 16 and 18. Michigan in the previous years was ranked in the top 10 in the country at some point every single season since 1967. They were a national contender that year from the beginning. That's very similar to Ohio State. Ohio State won 11 or more games every season under Urban Meyer. They're undefeated in the top 5 in the country this year. They are who they are. So their team, Ohio State, much more like Michigan in the national championship year for Woodson than they are Nebraska or Notre Dame for Te'o and Suh. And the last thing that I would argue is that I think Chase Young's got a great chance because he's going to have the stages down the stretch. Think about the last 3 weeks of the season. Ohio State's likely going to play in an undefeated against undefeated matchup against Penn State. Then they're going to play Michigan. Then they're going to play the Big Ten championship game. You could make the argument that there will not be a more watched football game in the week against Penn State, in the week against Michigan, and in the week in the Big Ten championship game, pending what that SEC championship game actually is. The pathway to a win. Chase Young probably needs Joe Burrow to stub his toe to some degree down the stretch. He would be rooting for Alabama in that matchup, Alabama against LSU. And he would like it if Tua didn't go off and threw for 400 yards. Chase Young's got a great chance at this Heisman Trophy. I think it's absolutely real, and I'm talking to you Heisman voters. If he's not on your radar, get him on your radar, and do not be afraid to vote for a defensive player for the best and most outstanding player in the country. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.